Why on earth are we still trying to do a nuke deal with Iran?
I have no idea. This is brought to you by the Biden administration, but the players here are the same players that negotiated the Iran nuclear agreement, the JCPOA, in 2015. We saw that deal did not stop Iran. That deal actually gave Iran $90 billion in sanctions relief.
Yeah.
That did not stop them from building ballistic missiles. It did not stop them from funding terrorism around the region. It did nothing to actually curb their behavior. And one thing that's really important about that deal, the people who negotiated it always says it stopped Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Not true. It delayed them. It kicked the can down the road at best. But there were these sunset provisions so that Iran would eventually be able to obtain a nuclear weapon. So what happened? During the Trump administration, we pulled out from the JCPOA because of all of the things that I just said, that it wasn't actually stopping Iran's malign behavior. Now what you're seeing is for the past 2 years, the Iran envoy, Rob Malley, has basically chased the Iranians around the globe, begging them to meet, trying to get them to negotiate to go back to the JCPOA. We gave them still all the leverage in the world. We were pursuing the maximum economic pressure campaign against them. We took Soleimani, their queen, off of the chessboard. And what did they do with it? They have nothing to show for the past 2 years. So now they're trying to do this unwritten deal, which is nothing more than giving billions of dollars in sanctions relief again to Iran, only they're trying once again to bypass Congress.
And if they got that money, the Iranians would promptly arm Hezbollah and they'd be bombing Israel as much as they possibly can. What a disgrace.
Exactly.
Next one, Morgan. President Biden reportedly called Xi Jinping a dictator. It happened at a fundraising event in California yesterday. The president said Xi was, quote, very upset when the U.S. military shot down a suspected spy balloon. Here's the quote: "That's a great embarrassment for dictators." Morgan, sounds to me like the president's trying to take a hard line because Blinken revealed that we don't support independence for Taiwan.
You know, the president and his team's policy as it relates to China is all over the map, and I really can't figure it out. You have Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, saying that we should not decouple, how dangerous and how risky it would be. And she is, I think, clearly one of the points of the Blinken meeting was to get the economic people, the Treasury Secretary, the trade ambassador, and others to start talking again and negotiating with China. So President Biden will often talk tough. He'll say things like that we're going to fight for Taiwan, which is not actually U.S. policy. So he likes to say tough things, but then the actions of his administration don't make sense. What price did the Chinese actually pay for the spy balloon? Yes, it got shot down, but only, Stu, after it had traversed the United States and actually completed its mission. And so other than that, there hasn't been anything publicly that we've seen. Instead, what did Blinken do? He begged and went to China uninvited to have meetings.
I'm desperately searching for a foreign policy success, and I really can't find one. But we do have this. Britain's Prime Minister, Sunak, holding a conference in London on Ukraine's recovery. Blinken is there. We're going to provide $1.3 billion more in aid for Ukraine to rebuild it. My question is, who should be paying to rebuild Ukraine?
The Europeans, it's their continent. The Russians, right? They're the ones who actually started this illegal war and occupation going back to Crimea, that invasion in 2014. So, you know, the Russians have a lot of culpability here. The United States, we have provided, and I'm proud of the aid that we have provided to Ukraine, but we also very much have to focus on our missiles, our munition capabilities, on the things that we're going to need if there is a Chinese military incursion over Taiwan. So that doesn't mean that we never aid people like the Ukrainians, for example. Again, I'm proud of our aid. But, however, the people whose continent it is, who are on the ground, especially the French and the Germans, I think, should be deeply involved in this reconstruction. Why is that? I don't know that we can trust the French and the Germans when it comes to a China fight. Who's going to be with us? South Korea, Vietnam, Japan, maybe India. These are the people that we have to be doubling down as it relates to where our relationships and where our energies are focused.
That was a tour de force through the foreign policy world, and you did it. Thanks very much indeed, Morgan.
That's
good stuff. See you later.